Alright, kind of a all over the place video, but it's sort of going to be directed. Somebody communicated with me, and I've had this question asked to me before. People have asked me to recommend books or tell them what they can do. What's the do here? What's the when we get past the talk, what's the do? What do we how do we live this philosophy thing? How do we live this realization that we're kind of in a fucked up place? So how do we fix it? How do we do something about it? And it's a big one. It's a big problem, because you have to do the doing through all these other people, and it's hard to communicate with people. It's hard for that thing, that reactive acid base thing to happen, to stop that from happening, to stop the really offensive edges that we have from polluting any possibility of something constructive happening, from just blowing it up before you can fix it. And that's sort of, so much of the politics is driven by that. So much stuff is got that layered all over it. So anyway, yeah, but there's so much, we have this time, this moment in history. It really does seem like this is an opportunity, because it is noticed. People are realizing that something's just not right. They're off balance, and so it's a time to get them when they're off balanced. When they're not so secure in the bullshit they're shoving down each other's throats. That's provides an opportunity. Doesn't mean that we'll have any tools to exploit the opportunity. It just means that the opportunity is there. Alright, so there's lots of videos worth mentioning here. I mean, that this is connected to. I'll link it to the Modern Mystics video, where he posts a link to an MP3 file of an interview with a guy. It's an hour long, but it really is a good little interview. I mean, it goes through a lot of the, boy, we're so fucked up. Our psychology is wrong. Peak oil is a big problem. Energy is a big problem, and we don't have the brain to fix it. We have the intelligence, but we don't have the psychology to get where we need to get. But anyway, so it's good. And then I'll post a link to a Laura Layla video, 3 wishy kind of thing, and it's probably just worth watching it just to read the comments. I mean, because it's going to be the same, I saw the initial comments, the same old wishfully thinking kind of crap. Nothing constructive, nothing that we can really do. Be nice if our wishes came close to being something we could actually accomplish. So anyway, I've been talking to Dario this morning, and we were sort of going through some of this stuff, and it just got some wheels turning again more. And really, we have to find some way to work through the human problem, and it's like nothing structured that way, though. I mean, even Give Me a Break man, made some video where he made some comment about we need more third parties and fourth parties and whatever his thing is, because we're not gonna. No, that's not gonna solve the problem either, because it's about issues. It's not about parties. As soon as you try to cram issues into parties, you are, there's another point of division. There's another thing to destroy individual issues, because they're going to have tied to them crap that is not going to be compatible. That's going to be corrosive to somebody else who might support that singular issue. And so there's got to be a way to make that politics work, and it's not going to work with this political system. I mean, a third party now is nothing but trouble. It'll do nothing but break democracy. It won't improve it. It'll just fuck it up. It'll just create spoilers. And so then the consensus that might exist is going to be just destroyed. You see it still in our elections. I was looking at some congressional election, or I mean, maybe it was a freeholder election or something. But yeah, I mean, I was looking at the election results, and it got completely destroyed. A guy with 30% of the vote wins, because the two other people who have completely opposite views than that other party. Split their vote and lost the election. So the 60%, 65% consensus was ignored, and the minority, the stupid fucktard, wins the election. It just doesn't work. Third parties in this system is nothing but that doesn't fix it. That breaks it. All right. So anyway, this whole issue thing. There's so much to this. It's just the whole way we argue. I mean, I think stupid, like, there was these stupid propositions on the ballot in these states about the marriage-only kind of acts and all that kind of stuff. And I think if that debate had to really take place in front of the American people, if they had to actually see the debate and actually understand how offensive
that kind of crap is. How fucktarded it is for them to not only say God exists and you must accept his existence, but to say we own him. Okay, so I mean, if you're gay, you can't even believe in God. You're not allowed to believe in God. You're not allowed to have a God-sanctioned contract with another individual in your relationship. I mean, it's just so disgustingly offensive. And this idea that somehow you give rights to people that are in exactly the same circumstance, that want some sort of social contract to protect their interests in their relationships because they have decided that they would like to role play or whatever. I mean, obviously you have children, that's a big reason to have a good contract, but just the idea that if one person works and the other person doesn't and just, you know, plays housemate or whatever, that person's interests have to be protected because, yeah, they're not paying Social Security taxes, they're not participating in society the same way. And they have to have some protection against a future where they're going to be left with nothing if the relationship dissolves. And so that it just makes sense to allow people to make those contracts. And society should sanction them and preserve and protect the idea of the rights of these people to make these contracts. And there shouldn't be contracts for these kind of people to have some sort of special meaning, and contracts with these other people that have to have some sort of lesser civil rights meaning. That's bullshit. Well, anyway, so these kind of debates, they have to happen, and they're not going to happen in this system. The media doesn't have them. They have this superficial glossing. They just keep glossing the same gloss on every subject. Every subject is dealt with in the simplistic terms. They don't get to the balls of any issue, ever. And they just regurgitate the same crappy bullshit arguments over and over and over and over. And that's why there's no evolution on any of this stuff. We need to create mechanisms where there can be a real debate, you know, a thunderdome of debate, a place where, you know, 2 points of view go in and only 1 point of view comes out, at least comes out in one piece. Some kind of real test. And, you know, we could do that through the media, through television, through entertainment even. I mean, why do we have an American Idol? I mean, it's a stupid fucking show, you know. It's a moron, so it's a moron standard of anything that's not valuable. Have an American Idol, have a contest, you know, of ideas, you know, like best debate, you know, kind of show, you know, that forces the issue and forces it to be, you know, creates a good competition to force you know, the best quality, the best argument to rise to the top kind of standard, something that really tests who we are and what we are as people. You know, there's no way that wouldn't succeed. There's no way that couldn't be marketable. But it's not going to happen in this closed world because they don't want people thinking. Big media doesn't want thinking people. They know thinking people aren't even watching their goddamn shows. So why should they even give a damn? They don't want to try to create programming for thinking people. That takes too much fucking work. It's too easy to just make something shitty and sloppy and go for the lowest common denominator. Because there's more of them. There's more idiots than there are geniuses. It's just a fact of life. And so that's where they're going to put their investment. Because it's all about the capitalist dollar. It's not about doing something constructive or productive. But even the whole mechanism, they have all these shows now, these Survivors, these American Idol type show, best this, best that. Why don't they just make a show, create the best show? So if you make a good show, you just create yourself your own half-hour show, make a couple of episodes, and then let those shows compete for the best show, and then let the winner of that contest have a show. I mean, it just seems kind of obvious. You want to create good television, that's the way you create it. You know, but they won't even go there because then that takes away their control. It's not that they'll end up, it's not that they're afraid they won't get good shows. No, they're afraid they'll lose their control over what's on television. And that's what it's really about. They lose control over their audience because they don't want to offend nobody. They want to play this game. They want to feed people what they want to hear, and that's what the news organizations have become. It's just, yeah, pick your news based on your preference. So we'll give you whatever you want to hear. We'll pump into your ears. You know, we'll give you the palatable propaganda. You know, any kind of standard of speaking truth, it doesn't exist anymore. It's not about the truth. It's not about what really is news. It's just about, I'm going to feed you what you want to hear, and then you're going to reward me for it by buying this crap I'm going to advertise. Well, whatever. I didn't want to get lost in that subject. But yeah, there's lots of shit to do. I mean, we got to write better. We got to think better. We got to make better arguments. But there's plenty to do here. Even if you're miserable and unhappy, there's no reason to bail yet, because you can make yourself productive. You can make a contribution. And the first thing you got to do, though, is survive. So yeah, you got to make a living somehow, you know. And so that, you know, that does fuck it up a bit. So I mean, I don't know what to say there. I don't have any advice there, but
Running out of time, so the other thing I'm thinking about is maybe creating some YouTube channels that are real issue specific and just create organizations based on issues. So it's like a third party almost, but it would only have one issue. It would only talk about one thing. It would only be devoted to one purpose, one mission. And that's what organizations have to become. So I mean, it's almost like, yeah, maybe we should create some video channels completely devoted to one narrow issue. It just makes the arguments on that issue. It provides the links for that issue. And that's it. It doesn't go anywhere else. And then we'll see what kind of survive. You know, what kind of popularity quotient it can generate. How many subscribers a channel like that can generate. And that'll tell us a lot about whether the argument's good enough, whether it's persuasive. But it seems like there's no way the channel could offend that way. It's about one issue. You either get it or you don't get it. You either support it or you don't support it. But there'd be no mixed bag kind of bullshit where you have to accept this sentence and that sentence and that sentence in Proposition 74 and 82 and 93. Because once you put these things together, yeah, you're going to lose that consensus. So anyway, just stuff in the head.